Speaking of Fukuoka, don't forget about food stalls. The rear cars of the stalls are lined up, and it blends into the city at night, creating a very tasteful scene. I happened to get along with the person who happened to be next to me and just drink a lot of sake. It's common in Fukuoka stalls. Such food stalls have been used as a place for people to interact with each other and live in the city for years, and are an important attraction and tourism resource of Fukuoka City. However, looking back on the history of food stalls, I was actually facing a crisis of survival. This time, I will explain the history of the survival of food stalls. Where are the food stalls in Fukuoka City? First of all, let's look at the place where the stalls are located. Let's do it. Many locations are located along Watanabe-dori Street, which runs north and south through Tenjin, the center of Fukuoka City, and along Meiji-dori Street, which runs east and west. Also, many are located along the river on the south side of Nakasu, which is the largest entertainment district in Kyushu. When the food stalls in Fukuoka City are introduced, the food stalls in Nakasu along the river are often introduced. Although the number has decreased, there are some in Nagahama, the birthplace of refill of ramen. The history of food stalls in Fukuoka City goes back to about 1946, 75 years ago. In the turmoil of the post-war period, stall sales have begun by setting up temporary stores on roads and parks. The number of food stalls has been declining since he peaked at 427 in 1965. What happened? Since 1965, food stalls have become a social problem. For example, one in the evening. It appears on sidewalks and parks, creating a unique atmosphere, but it is an obstacle for pedestrians. It will be a thing that the stall uses the place in a chaotic manner. 2. The drainage of sewage, such as food and drink and water after washing dishes, has become normal, and the discarded oil has solidified on the road. Clogged gutters on the road stinks. 3. Even though it is a prime location in the center of the city, the usage fee was low, so some stores in the surrounding area, which are open for a high rent, said that it was unfair. 4. Furthermore, there is also the problem of so-called name rental stalls that allow unlicensed third parties to operate. It seems there was Architectural Council that, in principle, new entrants are not allowed. And the rule of, in principle, one generation only, began here. If you want to use a general road regardless of the food stalls, you need to get permission from the police station in charge of using the road, but the police with permission has stated such a policy. In other words, when a person who is currently operating with permission retires from the stall business, the stall is destined to disappear. Since it is a public facility that has stalls that have become a social problem, it was decided like this, I think, but it was a strict condition for the stall business operator. Already, the number of food stalls at this time had decreased to about 220. By the way, in order to operate a food stall on the road, we receive a road occupancy permit from the road administrator and a separate business permit from the public health center. In 2000, Fukuoka City's own food stall business rules were established. After that, in 1996, a study group consisting of university professors and citizens was set up, and necessary measures were proposed to the city. In response to this, the city's own street food business rules were created in 2000. There are various rules for street food sales, but here are some of the current rules. Business hours are from 1800 to 4 o'clock. including the time for setting up and removing stalls. The stalls, including the audience seats, must be within 3 meters in length and 2.5 meters in width. Secure a width of 2 meters on the sidewalk that pedestrians can pass through. The provision of raw foods may be prohibited. The stall should have a structure that can easily move. Must specify the fee. There are various rules set. The second turning point was in 2013, when Japan's first ordinance on food stalls was established. In 2011, when the number of food stalls decreased to 154, Fukuoka City set up a study group to study the ideal way of food stalls with the aim of keeping the food stalls alive, and made recommendations to Fukuoka City. In response to this, in 2013, Fukuoka City enacted the Food Stall Basic Ordinance with the aim of creating food stalls that coexist with the city of Fukuoka, and a public recruitment system for food stalls was established. This paved the way for food stalls that were destined to disappear in the future due to the rule for only one car in principle to survive. In 2016, when the relocation and relocation of existing food stalls and the environment for the places targeted for public offering were in place, the first public offering of food stalls was carried out. Among the new food stalls, in addition to the orthodox food stalls that offer ramen and udon, there are also unique food stalls such as French cuisine and GB cuisine. The number of food stalls that have continued to decrease has stopped declining, and as of April 2028, 103 food stalls are open in Fukuoka City. Of these, the ones shown in red represent the number of food stalls selected by open recruitment. However, it seems that there are still issues to be solved. According to a survey of tourists conducted in 2018, 81% of tourists have a good image, or a rather good image, of food stalls. In addition, in the same questionnaire to citizens conducted in 2018, 54% of the citizens had a good image, or somewhat good image, of food stalls. 52% of the citizens want to recommend food stalls to tourists, or rather, although the food stalls are generally well received by tourists, the image of the citizens is not always good. The symbiosis between the town and the food stalls seems to be in the middle of the road. I hope that the social problems of food stalls that I have seen so far will be solved, and that the brand will become a brand that is truly familiar to citizens and tourists. Thank you for watching until the end. This time, we unraveled the history of food stalls. In history, the way food stalls should be has changed due to changes in social conditions. I will continue to improve at my own pace, so please check it out.